Hi guys, welcome back to Cernys Journeys Kids. We're going to do a virtual road trip to New York today.
Alright guys, we're going to New York. If you don't have one, feel free to go to cernysjourneys.com. On our homepage, you can go follow our virtual road trip, as well as you can print out your map. So you can either create your own or follow along with us. Alright guys, let's find New York.
It's right there.
That's right, bud. You see it, Cora? Yep. And just so you know, it's got that little island thing here too. That's part of New York too, that little island.
What?
Yeah. So New York State is in the northeastern part of the United States. It was the 11th state that joined the United States in 1788. It was one of the original 13 colonies. The capital is Albany, but of course, the biggest is New York City. It's known as the Empire State, probably from the Empire State Building in New York City. Borders are Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont, the Atlantic Ocean, and then Canada to the north. All right, guys, you ready to talk about New York?
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, the first thing we're going to talk about is Niagara Falls. We've been to Niagara Falls, so we can talk about it a lot. So Niagara Falls is one of the natural wonders of the world. It is the oldest state park in the United States, and it was founded as a state park in 1885. And Niagara Falls has two different falls. Do you remember the falls? There was the United States side and there was the Canadian side?
Yeah.
Remember the Canadian side was more of the horseshoe, right?
Yeah.
And the United States side was very straight. Remember?
Yes.
All right. So, we're going to talk about the straight side. Because that's the United States side. Although we've seen both. So, really cool. The Niagara Falls was, or has been around for about 12,300 years. So, around the Ice Age. So, it is where if you go over it, there's a lot of water released, right? Like all that water. And so there's about 3,160 tons of water that goes over every second of the falls. So the cool thing about it is it was formed because of the melting ice, and then the melting ice would go into Niagara River. So it's still forming currently, and so it's still kind of going backwards into the river. Do you remember the river kind of goes back?
Yeah.
It's still going, and it slowly is eroding. So from the water and the pressure of the water going down, remember how loud it was?
Oh yeah, that was loud.
Really loud, yeah.
I didn't like
that. So that's like, that causes the rocks and stuff to continue to erode, and it's still happening today. They put in a lot of engineering mechanisms to kind of help the slowing of it, but it's still kind of slowly going up. So every year when it freezes and then it thaws, it wears those rocks underneath, and it causes that gradual erosion that causes the falls to kind of keep on moving upstream. So kind of neat. So you can go to NiagaraFallsStatePark.com and you can get some information or facts about Niagara Falls, and you can also see some photos and videos. Heck, you can even plan your future trip if that's what you're interested in doing. I know we enjoyed it. Do you remember one of the funnest things that you did there?
the boat ride.
The Maid of the Mist, correct. We did the Maid of the Mist where you actually get to go down and you get to go right by the falls.
I don't know anything.
Do you remember how wet we got?
Yeah.
We had to wear ponchos because we got soaking wet. And then at night they do have fireworks too, which is really pretty to see over the falls too. So again, you can go on NiagaraFallsStatePark.com and get some facts about Niagara Falls, see some pictures, plan your next trip, and do anything that you want to do. You can also download a walking tour if you want to do that too. So very fun. You guys want to go back there sometime?
Yeah.
Awesome. We actually did a little bit more when we were there too, and we actually went hiking and did some other things too. So there's a lot of things other than the falls to do as well. So highly recommend. So we can't go to New York without talking about New York City.
Yeah,
Right?
that's true.
New York City. So let's talk about New York City. New York City is the most populated city in the U.S. So there's 8.5 million people that live in New York City. That's a lot of people. And it's separated by 5 different boroughs. So they call them boroughs. So there's Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, Bronx, and Manhattan, right? And we've actually been to New York too. So we're going to talk a little bit about New York. It's so hard to talk about just a few things in New York because there's so much to do. I mean, of course, the kids like FAO Schwartz and Central Park and stuff like that, but we're going to talk about a few different things. We're going to start with talking about Broadway. So Broadway, if you guys are not familiar, Broadway hosts a lot of different shows, live theater, and so they have over 41 theaters, or they have 41 theaters within New York proper, New York City proper, in which they have theatrical performances. So some that we actually looked at this morning, Cats. Remember Cats?
Yeah.
What was the song?
What? Memories.
Memories. That's right. Memories. I'm not going to sing it. Rent, Stomp. What was another one?
The Blue Man's Group.
Blue Man Group. Do you remember another one?
Lion King.
Lion King. Yeah. Barber Seville. And the list goes on and on and on and on. So you can actually go on and you can do a 7-day free trial on a Broadway shows if you go online and you do that. And it's kind of cool because you can see shows that you probably might not ever get to see. So if you go to Broadway.org, they have the availability to download the app and to take a look at some of the shows that they offer, obviously outside of now, but you'll be able to watch them virtually. So it's actually kind of cool. Or you can YouTube and find some clips if you want to. Sometimes a 2-hour plus show is a lot for the kids to watch. So if you find, if you know like a favorite one, I know Mary Poppins is one that they have, and some other shows that we can just take a look at and sing along. So very fun.
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins.
How do you do it so well?
I don't do it so well.
Yeah, you do.
If you ask our kids from England, they would tell you that I don't do it very well. Anyways, the last place we're going to talk about, because I really think that it's important to talk about history as well and kind of what's carved our nation, is we're going to talk a little bit about 9/11. I know it's a touchy subject and sometimes people don't really want to talk about it with their kids, but we have, and I do think it's important to share, is to talk about 9/11. So on 9/11, which is September 11, 2011, 2,977 people died in a terrorist attack at the World Trade Centers. And so it was the worst attack that the Americans have had on our soil. And so that same day, September 11th, not only was the World Trade Center hit, but the Pentagon was hit, as well as another plane crashed in Pennsylvania. So it's absolutely a day of memorial for us. So I would suggest that if you want to talk about it, you can. You can go to 911memorial.org. And the 911memorial.org is the 9/11 Memorial and Museum. It really honors those thousands of people that were killed in the terrorist attacks on September 11th. And so it has a lot of education and inspiration, and really the mission is to make sure that we don't forget and to make sure that we continue to inspire those around us. So there is a tab, if you go to it, Learn and Explore from Home is what you can do if you go to 911memorial.org. If you go to visit learn and explore from home, there's a lot of really neat things where you can do an interactive museum experience, and you can see some different videos and different things and exhibits that they have at the museum, which is kind of interesting and neat to see. You know, some of the things that we don't realize, or people who weren't really there don't realize, is that not only did both buildings collapse, but there was 1.8 million tons of wreckage that happened from the buildings collapse, and it took 9 months of cleaning that. And so some of the things that you can see is some of the collection of some of the things that they actually were able to salvage from that. They also have some art that was actually inspired by 9/11, and different things like some stories from people who were survivors is available as well. They have some lesson plans and things that maybe you want to teach, and just some other history about not only our history, but different things that might have impacted or have changed within America since then. So definitely really cool, and I would definitely recommend doing it because I think it's really important, and I think it really is important that our kids know. Those who were part of it or lived during that time, definitely it's something that I think years later I still can't put into words. So I think definitely it's important to make sure that everybody knows about it.
It was really sad.
Yep. Yeah, so we have talked to our kids about it. We have shown videos and kind of talked about the impacts that it had way before actually doing our virtual road trip. So it's not something we don't really filter too much when it comes to educating and history in our family. So anyways, that is our virtual road trip to New York. Also, I would tell you that we didn't get to the Statue of Liberty, but we kind of talked about Ellis Island when we went to New Jersey, and Ellis Island is considered New Jersey. The Statue of Liberty is in New York. So if you want to continue your virtual road trip with talking about the Statue of Liberty, you can absolutely do that. The National Park Services does have that available. Sorry, our mugs are from New York. So had to get them out because we love New York. So, right?
Yep.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining. Make sure that you like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.